Welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with Barb Schlinker, the owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Now, Barb, the market has certainly changed in the last year, causing some people to wonder if their houses will sell quickly and at a good price. How long does it take to list a house for sale?
Well, Richard, people don't sell homes very often, and it's not the same as selling a different big ticket item like a car because you have to have people come and look at it. And that now, with everything being online, that's basically your first showing is the online presentation, and all the stars have to align. The price, the neighborhood, the pictures, all those kind of things have to get the buyers in the door. We can get a home on the market fairly quickly within about a week, but the more preparation a seller does, the easier it is for the home to sell. The ones that are in good shape, they're going to move fairly quickly, really in any market. But the process takes a little bit of time. So if a seller says, all right, I don't want to move in the winter, I want to be done by whatever day, then we take that day and we work it backwards. Typically, from the time you go on the market to the time you get a contract, right now, the average day or the median days on market is 42, and the average days on market are 74. But that's because people tested the market at a higher price and then they finally lowered the price and got a contract. So I think if you're priced realistically out of the gate, it shouldn't take more than a couple of weeks to get a contract as long as it's marketed properly. So I would say you could work backwards from the time you really want to be on your way to your next home. 7 to 8 weeks would be reasonable from going on the market, getting a contract, going through the process, and closing. You can also dictate your closing date. I've had some people say, all right, I'm going here. I want to be here at this time. How do we make this happen? So we work backwards from there. There are some people that are ready now and say, go on the market now, go. And we can go that fast. That's okay. But I usually like a little bit more ramp up time for marketing, me personally. And if they've already gotten the house ready for sale, if it looks, fresh and move-in ready, that's easy to do, but most people really don't know how to approach it. One of the services we offer is a staging consult to take a look at the home and say, all right, put these away, move this around here. And the whole purpose of that is not meant to criticize people's decorating, because that's very personal how people live in their home. It's more about getting the home ready for photos so the home does not get eliminated online. Certain things look very cluttered online. Like we had one client that had all kinds of little figurines and stuff and cabinets full of them, and that was their hobby, and that's okay. But for photos, it first of all, it looks a little bit too cluttered, and second of all, you don't want anything that would be an easy, grab hazard. Not that we have too much theft going on in houses. I don't think it's pretty common, but you definitely want to secure all your valuables, all your guns, anything that's easy to pick up, medications, all that kind of stuff. I would definitely secure those before you start having buyers come through your house. Even if they're with real estate agents, that doesn't give me a warm fuzzy for sure, because sometimes the agents don't pay attention. I remember one time, and it's a pretty high producing agent, actually showed one of my listings. And the next morning, I get a call from the seller, the person directly behind that house, at 7:30 in the morning going, the back door is wide open. I'm like, oh my God. I knew the showing had taken place the night before. It was a vacant house that we had put staging furniture in. So I said, I'll be right over. And she had gone and shut the door for me. But when I went in the house, there's popcorn on the floor. One of the upstairs bathroom had gotten used. Obviously, a door was left open. So was that agent paying attention to whoever was in the house with him? Unlikely. So you have to be prepared for those kind of things. And that's part of what our stager will do, is just give you tips to be ready so there are no surprises around having people that you really don't know in your home. So a good time to meet with a real estate agent is probably 2 to 6 months before you plan to go on the market, especially if you have a big move coming up. There are some people that have a household and they're downsizing. That is quite a project. I have one customer right now that's doing an estate sale, even though, they're all well and fine, but they just, it was a process to get rid of stuff that they don't want. And then what we do when we meet is we talk about what are any improvements that might need to be done, find out what your goals are as far as timing and when you want to sell. I've had some people are like, I don't want to fix anything. I don't want buyers coming through my house. How do I get this done quick and easy? Well, there's a price for everything. So it's all about pricing, and some of it is still about marketing. So that's what we do. We meet with home sellers. We give them an in-home consultation on what to do, what not to do to get their house ready for sale based on their goals and their time frame. And then, of course, we'll go over about what they would net in their pocket when it sells and go over all the expenses. And that's a free service. There's no cost or obligation to do that. Some people worry that, oh, gosh, I've got a real estate agent coming over. I have to make my house pretty. Don't worry about that. We've seen everything. And the funnest part of my job is seeing the home after the staging consult, because usually it's a totally different story and it looks great. So if you are thinking of making a move, give us a call at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. So if you decide to let us handle the sale, we will go over all of our marketing systems. The thing that's weird about this industry in this state, the agreement to handle the sale doesn't promise anything. And yet it says in there that if the agent didn't do what they promised they would do, you could fire them. But it doesn't promise anything. And most of the agents don't put anything in there about what they're doing, like marketing or how they're going to approach the sale or how they're going to tap into their list of buyers. All that stuff is not in our state agreement, which is crazy. And a lot of people worry about having to sign on to a long-term contract. Like, am I committed to this agent for 6 months if they're not performing? Well, you can cancel, and you should, unless they had built in a cost for cancellation, you should be able to do that if the agent promised something either verbally or in writing that they didn't do. And then we also provide what we call a what happens next checklist. So we actually have a checklist of what exactly the steps are for them. And that way they can track where they are in the process. And there's some other things that you can do to really get a house ready for sale. I've had some sellers that really get ahead of the big ticket systems like sewer or roof or furnace or electrical. That's a really great idea, because once you go under contract, it's a little bit challenging for home sellers to have to try and get contractors and get bids on big ticket items. Those things, it's tougher to negotiate if you're under the gun for a timeline. And there are some buyers that want all the repairs done prior to closing, but you can't guarantee that every contractor is going to be available, especially for big ticket things like sewer lines or electrical systems and stuff like that. So, but we'll help you get ready for those buyers before they come and take a look at your home. And part of that is the presentation online. It has to be so good that the buyer picks your house as, I want to see that one. Get me into that home. My name is Barb Schlinker. I'm the broker owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty and the host of this show, Your Real Estate Voice. And we're talking about how long it takes to sell a house and kind of, what are the steps? What are the ways that we can get this done quickly and as easily as possible, even though it is a big project? So if you are thinking of making a move, give us a call at 719-301-3900. We have over 28,185 buyers just on my little website. Typically, we can match up to 800 buyers for any one given home, and we'll definitely market directly to them should you decide to let us handle the sale. So give us a call anytime, 719-301-3900, or you can go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
We're talking about how long it takes to list a house for sale, Barb. Tell us about the rest of the home selling process, if you would.
Well, one of the things that can help a home seller is a home warranty. As an example, what a home warranty is, they're not too expensive. They're about $500, and they provide financial repair or money relief. If some of the systems fail, they provide it for the buyer for 1 year after closing, and our warranty covers the seller during the listing. So one of the more common things, I don't know why, but refrigerators don't last very long. The refrigerator itself might be working, but the ice makers always go out. There's always something going on with refrigerators, it seems like, in my world. So our warranty will cover that. So you can get an appliance repair out, anybody you pick to take a look at it. And if there is a problem, they will either repair or they'll cut a check to replace it towards that failed refrigerator. So they're very, very helpful, especially in inspection negotiations when the buyer's saying, well, you need to replace the water heater because it's more than 6 years old. That's the reason. That's what these inspectors say. And it's like, but it works. Why would we do that? So I run into that all the time. So home warranties are a nice warm fuzzy for the buyer to know that, okay, for at least a year, we've got the system covered. And then, once you accept an offer, of course, we're going to order the title work to make sure there's no other liens other than your mortgage and taxes against the home. They're going to do the inspection. And there's the buyer pays for their own inspection. Now, you can do a pre-inspection, which is not a bad idea, especially for the major systems. But one thing that's kind of a relief for home sellers is the showing process typically is not that fun. They can't wait until that's over. So I get the question all the time, I still have people wanting to see my house, even though I accepted a contract. Should I let them see it? And I'm like, well, that's up to you. You can, and you can accept a backup offer in case buyer number one bails out for whatever reason. And there's a whole bunch of different reasons, especially on the inspection, why a buyer may bail out. Less so on the appraisal. Those don't fail as often, especially if it's priced right. Typically, I don't have to worry about appraisal, but sometimes the appraiser will come back and go, hey, you got to take care of that peeling paint on the outside, or whatever issue needs to be done to meet the buyer's loan guidelines. But that is another point of negotiation. And then the buyers do their final walkthrough. The walkthrough is interesting because I've had some agents try and play I'm not going to close if I don't get it the way I want it, even though there is agreement and there's certification in the contract that it will be done. But if they don't get it the way they want it, they tend to try to push that I'm not closing without a lever at closing. There's some agents that do that, and it's not fun. But if you've got everything squared away, you've got pictures of the repairs, you've got receipts, and you've done what you agreed to do, there's really not much that they can say. And then for closing, typically I'll have the sellers pick a time ahead of the actual closing date because they're in the throes of moving around the closing date. It's better to get that done ahead than all the paperwork is done. And they just wait for the money to drop in their account on closing day. That's the best case scenario for a lot of them. So if you are thinking of making a move, give us a call at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. And if you are thinking of making a move, simply call Barb at 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. A short break. When we come back, we're going to be discussing what are the most common issues that arise on home inspections, plus Barb's hot new listings. Don't miss those.